There was never a plan. Priyesh was like, I want to buy a business. I said, fine. And the next, there's this random dental practice.
So we put an offer in without doing any research, never seen any dental practice, without any sort of thought about owning a dental practice. And of course, the offer's been accepted. I went from having a decent salary to earning about £200 a year. And then, it was literally then every day, every month, I was like, oh, another target, right, I made £1,000 this month.
The previous owners were 60-year-old white men, and I'm just this little Asian girl.
Be like, oh, we're here on work experience.
Yeah.
Every penny we made in the practice, we reinvested it. So we have no cash flow. And then COVID came out of nowhere. I said, I don't know what's going to happen. The chances are we're going to go bankrupt and we're not going to see the end of this.
So why aren't more people doing this? I don't understand.
I just think dentists are narrow-minded.
And I'll only buy things that are evidence-based. I had one patient in particular who was almost an hour away. So she rings up the practice. I've seen this advert. I'm interested. I'd rather just have the conversation on the phone. And I said, oh, it's better to see in person because I can see what we're working with in terms of size, what your fat loss is, etc. She said, I can send some photos to you. So she emailed the practice with some photos of us. Open this email up, and at this point I'd load up on my 27-inch screen, a big image there, and one goes, what's that? She's obviously print screened the pictures across her camera roll, and it's got the feed at the bottom of what the feed were, and all of us like picture of a partner with it.
Welcome to The Patient is Always Right. We're back. This is the show where we dig into the unfiltered truths behind clinic success. Today's guests are a bit of a power couple, literally. We're joined by Priyesh and Vina, the husband and wife duo behind not one, but two thriving clinics, Leamington Road Dental Practice and Priyesh Lad Aesthetics. They're building a business, raising kids, managing teams, and somehow still have the energy to speak to us. We get into it all, the highs, the hard bits, and what it really takes to grow something together without losing the plot for each other. Let's go. Welcome back to The Patient is Always Right, and we have Derek back in the fold. Yay! And we also have Priyesh and Vina Lad on the sofa today. Cool. I'm going to hand over to Derek.
Yeah, actually, this is a super exciting episode because we've got an incredible couple on the show that sort of spans dentistry and aesthetics, and you guys are arguably the favorite client of Ignite. You do an incredibly good job at growing your clinic. You're very open-minded, very collaborative, and honestly, it's the team absolutely loves working with you. So we're super excited to have you on the show. Not for you to talk about us, but for you to share your stories and your learnings with the rest of the market, because I think there's so much that not only the dental world can learn from you, but also the aesthetics world and how you guys kind of operate as a power couple and where you sort of set the lines and the boundaries and just, I guess the key to your success. Yeah, can't wait to hear more about it, basically.
Dive in. But before we do, we have a little something for you.
Oh, God.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here she comes. For each of you.
Oh, brilliant.
And for everyone that can't see, that is champagne. So there you go. Enjoy. Cool. Well, we're going to dive in. We're going to start with like a warm-up round, if you like. It's like being on a quiz show. So, quick fire.
Okay.
Just your instant answer. Okay. Biostimulators or energy devices?
Energy devices.
Okay. Managing a team or managing your kids?
Oh, managing a team, actually.
Yeah.
Creative freedom or consistent cash flow?
Yeah, creative freedom, 100%.
Glowing reviews or jaw-dropping results?
Jaw-dropping results.
Nice. And which one stings more, work arguments or home arguments?
Say it.
They're usually about the same thing.
It starts in one end and finishes in the other end. And the beauty is I have all the girls on my side.
Nice. Fair. Good answer. Cool. Well, we're going to get into a couple of other questions just to kind of tell the audience about you, get to know you. So if you want to give us a little spiel about yourselves, your background, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Priyesh, Vina. We own Leamington Road Dental Practice. She's the dentist and therefore the boss. And I'm a pharmacist who turned to aesthetics about 10 years ago. Somehow or other, just rolling with it and not having a plan, managed to incorporate aesthetics and dental under one roof. Arguably quite successfully, and yeah, just taking each day as it comes, really.
So how did you end up running the clinic together? Was that a plan, or did you?
There was never a plan, was there?
No.
Literally. I think Priyesh was like, I want to buy a business. I said, fine, buy a business. And then you're looking at pharmacies. And the next, there's this random dental practice, which was really local, only 2 surgeries. And we're like, let's go see it. So I went to go see it. Thought, yeah, let's just try.
So we put an offer in without doing any research, never seen any dental practice, without any sort of thought about owning a dental practice.
Then we went
And
to...
we were on the way to the airport to go to Iceland, and we got a call saying the offer's been accepted.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, we're back in 5 days. And all we did was speak about, what do we do for 5 days? I was like literally in Blue Lagoon being like, do we buy it? Do we not buy it? What do we do? And then...
But we're in a tricky situation because we were on the verge of probably buying a house. Then we're like, and in my head I was like, no, get the house. But then you see the future. No, get the business. Let's do that.
And then we did all of it at the same time.
Yeah, it just took that long. We ended up doing both,
Yeah.
didn't we?
And then, when we got the practice, I was still working as a pharmacist, and would come in one day in the blue moon, and Vina was there 5 days trying to do everything from the principal to trying to learn how to run a business, grow and manage a business. And yeah, wasn't really going in the right direction and didn't really know what plan B was. My pharmacy for me was, I was working in a hospital at the time. Vina's dad owns a pharmacy as well, so I was working a couple of days there. But it was a full day, 9 till kind of 6 with the travel. I was going at 8, I was coming back at 7. And I was like, well, I'll never see my kids, so I want to do something that's appointment based, which is what really then pushed me to take that step into the aesthetics world. It was a big step because I went from having a decent salary to earning about £200 a year. And then, it was literally then every day, every month, I was like, oh, another target, right, I made £1,000 this month, and just that next bit. And that's what just kind of driven us to keep pushing, really. So just having little targets along the way.
That's a great story. And so when you bought Leamington Road, it was 2 surgeries, you said. Were you an associate at the time somewhere else? And then
I basically handed my notice at my practice, the practice I was working in Banbury, and then I randomly started working in prisons. So I was doing 1 day a week in the prisons, and then it took so long to exchange that I just started locuming for the prison. So I had that time. Oh, I started doing 1 day a week actually at the practice we were buying. They agreed for me to do a Friday, and then one day it just happened. They're like, oh, here's the keys, it's yours now. Literally, there was no excitement to it whatsoever.
Literally, I think we took over 2 years to the patients that were in on a Friday to see the previous owner had no idea it was completing that weekend, and when they came on a Monday to continue their treatment and those dentists weren't there, they were like, well, no one told us that we were leaving, or so
we lost a chunk.
Lost big kickback at the start because they had really hand over.
Because the previous owners were 60-year-old white men, been well established, and I'm just this little Asian girl.
Being like, oh, we're here on work experience.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there was a lot of it was just tough at the start.
Being fully private, practice been established since 1957. A lot of our patients, even now, are
It's all
60, 70, 80-year-old patients,
Right.
The old existing ones, and to see someone that, essentially looked like someone that was on work experience, and we're going back 10 years now, pretty much. It's also been
challenging and hard, wasn't it? But
Wow.
you live and learn, don't you? Prove yourself.
Wow, that's tough.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was more the one, patients weren't aware. 2, the whole situation of how it happened, they didn't appreciate. And 3, people are of that mindset where actually, if I've got to start with a new dentist, why don't I just go somewhere a bit more convenient? You've got patients that would travel to come to this dental practice, but now they've got to change the dentist. They're like, why travel from, say, I was at Rugby to Coventry? Why don't we just find a practice in Rugby that's more convenient for me?
But then, to be fair, there was a chunk that were just loyal to the practice. Like the building, they've been like their granddad, them, and now their kids go to the practice. So
yeah, and I think there was
that
a small handful of patients that were couples that really supported us, and that's what gave you the confidence to say, actually, I am doing something right, and that kept you going, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually,
I knew it was going to be hard, but we just got to work with it, really.
it was a dated practice. They didn't even have the ultrasonic scalers, for example. So every penny we made in the practice, we reinvested it. So we had no cash flow. And then COVID came out of nowhere. And I sat down literally the week before we went into full lockdown, kind of sat with the girls and said, look, got $6,000 in my account, that's enough to pay you guys for, a month maybe. We only had 3 members of staff at the time. I said, I don't know what's going to happen. The chances are we're going to go bankrupt and we're not going to see the end of this. But we'll do our best. We paid them full salary throughout. Thankfully, Richardson saved our ass and
furlough,
bounced back the loan and all the rest of it. We took it a challenge. We were closed and said, right, well, we've never managed to put our stamp on the practice. I'm quite handy. We refit the whole practice basically whilst we were closed in those 10 weeks.
Yeah.
We managed to literally from just out of a painting, then change the flooring, then make her a desk.
Painting,
and literally everything.
The desk, you made the desk from scratch.
Literally, and it was just like, well, let's take this as an opportunity. And when we reopened after COVID, it was like our life changed. NHS dentistry wasn't, weren't doing anything. Everyone was to dentistry, to private.
Flooding, didn't we?
Yeah, and obviously because it was what we designed now, and we started to get a few influencers through the door, and all of a sudden it went from being what was a really struggling business to something that
was growing,
was thriving. I can't believe how many new patients we were taking, and considering what was maybe 10 weeks before, 2 nurses with 2 dentists, to now we're a team of 16.
Wow.
And it just went from one strength to another. From the aesthetics point of view, again, CQC said as long as you are doing anything that is within your business model in a safe and comfortable manner, then you can practice as normal and being fully private. We're under no restrictions. So all those patients that go for aesthetics, a beautician or whatever salons that they were closed, everyone was desperate for their Botox. All of a sudden, my diaries started filling up. I started getting my reputation, and then again, that's when everything changed for me as well.
So with the aesthetics, when you introduced it, did you ever envisage what it is now, going down more the energy? Because you mentioned Botox and fillers. Is that what you thought it would start as?
Never. Literally, Botox fillers, I thought was it. If I'm honest, energy devices was completely ancient. I didn't even know they existed when I first started, if that makes sense. And like we mentioned earlier, it's one of those where I just roll with it. It is. And someone said the word Morpheus 8 to me about 4 years ago maybe. I made an inquiry and they came back with a quote, and I thought, that's a lot of money. And I just didn't even entertain it. I just put it to bed. 12 months later, I was like, maybe I should start thinking about doing something. Every clinic, every corner is now offering aesthetics, and what am I going to do that's going to be set me apart from everyone else?
I think what we do is, it's okay, like, you get stuck in your way, but that's like the wrong attitude. You need to accept to change. So every now and then, I think we just change. It's good to change. You don't need to carry on doing what you're doing, because it's only going to last. So you've kept up with the times.
Yeah, and this is it. And so I thought, all right, I made the decision to buy the Morpheus. I told my dad I'm going to buy this expensive device and I'm going to take it on finance. And like every old Indian man, he said, don't buy on finance. So he gave me the money for it. So I had this money anyway. So I went and bought a Emerald at the same time. So ended up with 2 devices in a month. And from then, the rest is history. Literally, I thought, actually, this is that from what was doing as injectables to then having what would be the cheapest treatment would be like £200. Now the cheapest treatment is £2,000. And actually, it's like, well, why would I not be offering the bigger treatments? Why am I dallying around with the cheaper bits of injectables when everyone else is doing it?
Did you market straight to your existing client base, or did this open the doors to new?
Yeah, all to new. So literally, it was one of those. At the time, I used to try and what I thought was successfully doing it myself through Facebook ads. Clearly wasn't, but just going on the local groups and whatever, and just reaching out. It's only when, again, like anything, it's a learning curve, and it took us a long time, probably good 3 or 4 years, to realise actually paying for good marketing is where.
Well, you just want to do everything yourself, and you just didn't have the time.
Well, I think the problem with some of the devices, like for example, emerald laser is one of my most popular treatments. Nobody knows what emerald laser is. You need to put it in someone's face for them to know that they want it. No one's Googling emerald laser, and it's how to get that reach out there for them to enable them to come and inquire. Once they're there, the device speaks for itself. I'm quite good at getting the conversions, so it's just a matter of just getting the bums on the seats. So
I've always sort of been surprised that how few dental clinics, are integrating those successfully into their clinics. Because just commercially, from a margin point of view, if you take something like Invisalign, it being, let's say, £3,500, if you're new at Invisalign as a provider, you pay upwards of £2,000 for the lab bill, so you have £1,500 margin left. From that, probably you're going to have to include whitening, possibly retainers, 5, maybe 10 visits, if not more. And so, especially if it's associate led, I mean, it's very hard to make those numbers work. If you take an Emerald, for example, or any other high value energy based device, let's say £2,000, you don't need someone, as clinically as experienced as something like orthodontics. So why aren't more people doing this? I don't understand.
I just think dentists are narrow-minded. They would just look at teeth and don't look at some dentists do a bit of Botox fillers, but they're just in that zone. Whereas you've come from a different background, so you just see things in a complete different. You see the whole person, which is why it works. Whereas I think if it was me doing all of that stuff, I'd be like, I don't know what it is. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't entertain it.
If I'm honest, I think it's the cost that scares me. If from everything we've bought, and we've refitted the whole practice in terms of equipment, chairs. The most expensive thing to date I bought in a dental setting is a CT scanner.
Yeah.
And yet compared to the energy-based devices, that's still the cheapest device I bought. So it's the price. And unless you're going to give it your all, I think dentists on the whole learn quite well to then give all of that up to go back to start from square one, as well as coughing up 6 figures for a device is scary. People don't want to take that risk because a lot of them are comfortable.
And it's interesting actually, because I always think dentists are lucky in terms of the audience that they have because it's so diverse. So they can actually tap in and find out things before they even go to the point of purchase. Like just speaking to clients to me, like, what is it other than obviously you sat here with your teeth? What's your other concerns? And actually using that information to dictate their next steps. And aesthetics then opens that door, doesn't it? Because it could be, like you said, it's quite interesting as well. You picked 2 devices that were very different in the sense of one's face predominantly, one's body. I know obviously you can use Morpheus on the body as well. Was that intentional, or was that just...
So Morpheus is obviously well marketed, everyone, and that really integrated well with what I was doing. And I was just speaking to my accountant, and he said, but that device only targets those predominantly women that want to feel more youthful or look better or rejuvenation or whatever it might be. And he goes, well, he's an accountant. He sits and does everyone's books, and he goes, the richer they are, the fatter they get, and the fatter they get, the less time they have to exercise. And he goes, whether they're male or female, he goes, actually, everyone wants to lose weight, be healthier, be skinnier, and actually an emerald laser will target young, old, male, female, and everyone. He goes, why don't you buy that? Because actually, to me, he goes, you got a bigger demographic. So I took the risk and did it, and at first it was just really good, and then it slowed down, and then you guys came along, and it just rocketed. So.
And obviously, you've now had the Emerald for a little while. What do you think's this is more for clinics that probably like, I have an Emerald, how do I market it? What do you think's the secret to getting people in? Because the one thing about the Emerald that I think is crazy in an amazing way is that obviously there's no downtime, it doesn't hurt, but it's laser. And I think people think no pain, no gain. That's what people think. So how did you overcome that with the Emerald?
So I think, again, just people inquire, they're curious. I offer free consultations, they come in. The minute you say a laser, people think pain. I'll just literally switch on. So put your hand underneath this. Can you feel anything? And they're like, no. And I was like, literally, that's all you're going to feel, And from getting them there, getting that pain barrier crossed, then it's just all that education. I'm firm believer, actually, it's not a hard sell. Education that patient so much that they know everything about it as much as you do, that they're going to go into the sell. Because even if they're not going to commit then, they'll go away and they'll keep thinking about it, and they'll keep thinking that the number of consults I've done, they've come back 6 months later, because I won't just educate them about the laser, but I'll give them lifestyle advice, actually. How much water you drink in X, Y, Z. They'll go in, they'll try everything that I've told them. Doesn't always work for them. Some of them it does, but then they'll want that extra bit, basically.
Do you ever get sort of burnt out from, because even like social interactions take a lot of energy, they take a lot of time, like, especially if you're an empath, like you're really invested in people. How do you manage that?
Work-life balance, isn't it? I think we're quite social, I'd say. That's all it is. You just can't Work is work. We work to earn. We earn to live our life. But that's the time we spend together as well. Although we don't actually. We're so busy. But just make it home from home. There used to be a time when I graduated where it was like, oh my God, Sunday, that gut feeling, I'm dreading going to work. Not that anything bad was happening, it was just the thought. And I don't remember the last time I felt like that. And that's saying something, isn't it?
I think it's just about enjoying it. I actually enjoy the consultations. I enjoy talking to my patients. And actually, I do get a buzz when they go ahead and, if it's a high ticket item and you do 3 animal sales in a day, it's, it's a good day in the office today, It's,
I think we just genuinely care, don't we? It's not just, let's get all the money in. We don't work like that. I think we want to make a change, make a difference. Because to be fair, we're doing it in our own lives, aren't we? This whole health kick, which is everything you're doing, we're already trying to model it ourselves at home, so it just makes it easier.
Obviously, you take a very personal approach with your patients. You're invested. It's you build a connection. What happens if the treatment doesn't quite go to plan, or if it doesn't work out, or if the patient is not happy, either in your control or outside of your control, whatever? Because you're emotionally invested in them and their journey, does that not become more difficult to manage?
So in any life situation, if you, for example, if you've had an argument and you've got a close relationship, you're less likely to make a complaint because they've got that trust there. So if I try my best to build that relationship, actually, even if something hasn't gone to plan, yes, we can correct it, but they're less likely to make a complaint or really take it that next step, because actually they don't want to cause harm to me or to, that stress, because we've got that relationship. So that's why another reason, actually.
No, I don't know. I just think that no, this is taken time to figure out, because you're a people pleaser, and I think I am as well. So at the start, when we'd get a complaint, we'd feel a bit hurt and be a bit emotive. But sometimes there are times where you just read the situation, and as sad as it is, have your money back, and just stop that toing and froing from a complaint. That's what it is.
I think what we've learned in the past, when there has been the occasional complaint, no matter how much you try and fight it, whether it's 2 weeks or 6 months of toing and froing, actually the end result is they get the money back.
Yeah, so why go through
just give them their money back and just get it done with.
Either you do that, or you say, look, next time we do, I don't know, Botox or whatever, I'll just do it on the house for you. You just got to do these gestures so we don't look
business.
Yeah, because there's that reputation, especially dentist side, that we're just money grabbers with a Porsche in the back or something. So it's just
game I do.
No, no.
Ferrari.
But it's just it's so easy, especially someone who's fairly new to practice, to just stereotype. So we've got a lot to fight against if we're being awkward when they're dissatisfied. So at the end of the day, half the time we just have to give the money back.
Do you get a lot of crossover from dental and aesthetics, as in your client base?
Yeah, loads. I think especially your side, the amount, because they're coming in to improve their appearance. You're then like, and they're in a dental practice. They're like, oh, it's nice in here. Oh, actually, I want my teeth straightened. Oh, actually, my teeth fine. I'm getting married. I'm doing this, and that just brings a lot.
This is probably the biggest benefit of having Emerald Laser, is the contact time. They're there for 10 hours, 12 hours weekly. I don't necessarily do all the treatment. My nurses will go and do it. Now they built a relationship with myself, with my nurses, the team. They'll come in and have a chat about things like I had a patient send me different fabric softeners and said, I can show this to Lindsay, please. And I was like, I'm not getting fabric softeners. Whatever conversation they're having, it's fine. It's building goodwill. That crossover is massive for us. And I'm a firm believer of doing anything to get footfall through the door. Once they're in, they'll then find a way. Like, for example, hay fever season's massive. The amount of hay fever jabs I'm doing, it's just another way to bring people through the door. Yes, I can make more money doing other treatments, but actually just bringing, last month I did about 150 jabs. That's 150 new patients that have come through my door, that have seen the practice, know we're there, and actually if they do get toothache, they might say, actually, I went there once, so
trust them already. Yeah. Because if they trust you with an injection, they'll probably trust you with more.
Exactly.
So do your patients dictate the purchase of your next device?
I do ask. Again, a lot of it's just kind of, I go, so I'm a bit flippant. I see something, I went to the award show a few years back with Emerald, and then the next day I was at the show in a hungover, drunken state. I tried the Emerald sculpt, and I thought, oh, this actually feels like it's doing something. And I bought it, and I was like, rang Vina. She's like, I don't want to come to the show. You're just gonna get bored. So she went to Zara, and I was like, we were meeting for lunch, and I said, oh, she's like, just spent £300 in Zara. I was like, yeah, I've just spent 90,000 on it. That's cool.
It's a big swear words in that. Not intending to.
But again, it is one of those where actually, but you make an impulse decision and then you roll with it. And actually, I feel like because we are established, and actually I do have a good patient base. It might not be the biggest amount of followers or whatever, but they're very loyal to me.
Yeah.
And actually, anything I do buy, I know it will sell, because actually it comes down by recommendation. I'll only buy things that are evidence-based and, good devices. I'm not going to buy something random from China or something. So like the hydrofacial was an impulse buy the other week. Didn't intend to buy it, but got a good deal. And I was like, why am I doing this? But yeah, and behold, I put it on my socials and we paid it off before you even took delivery of it.
Okay, so let's do a recap. You got Morpheus 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have the Emerald Laser.
Mm-hmm.
You have the M-Sculpt Neo.
Mm-hmm.
You have the M-Cella.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the performance enhancing
Yeah.
aspects of that later. You have the Ignite in-mode RF. Yeah.
And I just bought the hydrofacial.
And the hydrofacial. Okay.
And I've got a room that's the size of a converted garage.
That's about the size of the studio then.
Less than this.
Oh, right, wow.
Yeah.
You managed to fit them all in there.
Well, the Morpheus and the hydrofacial live in another room and they get reeled in like a trolley, like an aircraft.
That's incredible, because so many clinics come to us. People buy a device and they think that's a silver bullet. I'm throwing money at this problem and it's going to solve my problem, and then it ends up sitting in the corner collecting dust, and they don't know how to monetize it. So, what would be your kind of single most important piece of advice that you would give someone who is considering buying a device or who has just bought a device on how to make sure they're actually
market it well? 100%. Literally, these devices, nobody has heard of them. An Emerald Laser, of 60-70 million people that live here, probably 100,000 people in the UK that know what an Emerald Laser is. Everyone wants it, but no one knows they want it until they've seen it. So I dropped the kids off at nursery the other day, and the worker said, I saw your face 10 times on my Facebook last night. She said, how much you paying for your marketing? And I was just like, I just can't avoid you. But I was like, well, at least you're seeing me.
We went to the airport about a year or so ago, and the girl I went to school with, but she didn't see me. She saw you because she recognised you.
She never met me.
She recognised you just because of the ads.
She's seen me on
She's
the
like, oh, if he's there, then Vina's going to be there. And that's how powerful this marketing is. It's just mad. I think the other thing that that helps is how accessible you are on Instagram chats, Facebook Messenger.
Much to your despair.
I know. I can't stand it. You say you don't bring work home, but you do. I mean, not that I like it, but you do respond and they book. And it's such, these, especially Botox, it's such a, oh no, I want it tomorrow because I've got a wedding party this weekend. So we do make it really easy to book.
I mean, so you both said you're people pleasers. I think I can relate to that. I know what I've struggled with is sort of setting boundaries, and being accessible and available and so forth. And I definitely was in the beginning of the Ignite journey, but it sort of led to burnout. So how do you manage that?
Online booking changed a lot.
Yeah.
That was the change, wasn't it? The online booking.
You just send a link, or you just let people have it.
Link,
and they're paying.
Yeah.
Some of it needs deposits. Isn't it?
So then we had our websites made by. Did you match Shaz, friend?
Shout out to Shaz.
We had 2 websites made, one for dental and one for aesthetics. At first, it seemed like a great idea, and then I thought, what have I done? Because all my Google reviews and all my feedback was on the Leamington Road page, and that started with no history, nothing. And we started paying for SEO. That now within the Coventry area, you search for anything, and both our websites come as 1 and 2.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Generally, people will click within the first 3. If I've got 2 of those 3, then I'm winning, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then the online booking feature of that just made life so easy.
Because you'd be like, oh, let me check the appointment.
Yeah, by the time you reply to someone and say, actually, I can offer you
2 o'clock. Oh,
yeah.
2 o'clock. Okay, 4 o'clock. And you're just wasting so much time.
Yeah, whereas now I'm saying, yes, we can see you tomorrow. Here's a booking link. Find a time that suits you.
Dental has its place in the sense it's going to always be there. People are always going to need dentistry, but we're seeing so many changes in aesthetics. Like wellness seems to be, in fact, the fact that you had Emerald a little while back, you're kind of already at the forefront of wellness and longevity. Do you notice a shift in the way people are thinking?
100%. I'd say before it was all Botox fillers. Botox will always be at the forefront anyway. The amount of fillers I do is significantly reduced. The amount I dissolve is probably more than what I do these days. And actually everyone wants more natural results, energy-based devices. Patients would typically say, for example, everyone's on this weight loss journey at the moment, the way they're on Manjaro or wherever it is that they're getting to, get to where they're getting to. But then now they've got like skin, or they want some tone or some definition. All these things coupled. And actually, yes, I bought a lot of devices, but actually having all the devices allows me to do combination treatments.
Yeah.
You know, having an Emerald was great. And then they lose inches, but then they say, well, what's next? And I was like, well, I've got nothing else. You know, and then actually that allowed me to then say, oh, do this and then move on to the M-Sculpt and let's tighten all the Morpheus in between. And actually now I was taking a $2,000 treatment up to $6,000, and, you know, and that's what then really then started elevating the treatment plans, but then the trust and all the rest of it, and getting the best results, you know, because actually your before and afters now are not just someone who's lost a few inches, it's now lost inches with tone and definition, and it's all a whole holistic approach. And actually it's still cheaper than going through surgery with no downtime.
Exactly.
So you've then doubled or maybe even tripled the lifetime value of that patient.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I
was just saying, obviously, we still use the same dental software for whether it's aesthetics or dental, and everyone's got an account. And really, those big spenders on our account are those that have had like years worth of implants, say, for example. They might have 20 or 30 grams worth of spend over the last 10, 15 years. Whereas we're getting patients that are coming through with aesthetics within a week, they're spending 6-7 grand, you know, up front, and then they're bringing a partner and they're doing the similar thing because they're seeing the results. And next thing you know, you've got a new family that's, I'll spend 15 grand in a couple of weeks, you know.
And the word spreads, doesn't it? And that's been the biggest thing for.
And I think people are more happy to talk about having a natural, like a Morpheus or an Emerald or an M-Sculpt, then talking about, I had fillers done, right? Whatever.
Yeah, true.
You know, and it's then it's not so much of a let's keep it secret and hope no one notices sort of thing.
True. Regret buying, or that haven't done as well as you hoped they would or thought they would, or that kind of don't fit in for you?
I think the M-Seller, I think, was a tough market. I think mainly because I'm a bloke. Women don't want to talk to blokes about the incontinence.
Yeah.
You know, it's always been, I mean, it pays its way. You know, I'm never gonna say it's been profitable. You know, I've just about break even on it, you know, every month, which, you know, it's fine. It's one of those where it's just a nice chair in the corner now. But again, it's good because it's a nice conversation to have with patients. You know, actually it adds a bit of banter to the you know, people say, what does it do? You know, it's
I think you're the wrong face for it.
Yeah.
To be frank, like realistically, I could approach all the mums who've just had kids and the midwife's going on about pelvic floor exercises. Well, help that by using this, or then it's that older ladies with incontinence and whatnot.
Well, I just find it funny. So actually, do you know, it can increase just your sexual orgasm by 64%. Or, you know, it's, yeah,
it sounds like
Yeah, we were waiting for that one. The fact of the day.
A whole other client base coming if it's that.
Queue out the door, isn't it?
So obviously with aesthetics, it's Priyesh lad aesthetics, right? And I feel like with dental, you've been quite strategic and not put yourself in the front.
Yeah.
Do you regret that at all?
I do and I don't. You know, I did my training with Zach Ali many years ago, and he said, build the brand around you, and no matter what you do or where you go, your brand will follow you. And I kind of, you know, took that as my gospel, and I never wanted it to be Priyesh Lad Aesthetics. It just kind of fell that way. Just my Instagram was just Priyesh.lad, and it just then someone's like, oh, you need a website. Like, I was like, what domain can I have? Like, and then it just kind of fell in that way. Even now, if people say, where do you work? Or it's always Leamington dental practice. I don't really say, go on my, like, this is my website. It's always, everything is just Leamington Road. I don't really push my brand that much. I think.
But you do a lot of because it's your work and that's nice. People want to see it. You do a lot on your social media.
Yeah, because it's just on my phone, isn't it?
But then a lot of your following, I don't know, is there a lot of you following on your page, would you say?
Yeah, so
you have a lot of backwards, forwards.
Yeah, so I have kind of my personal account, my aesthetics account, all on my phone. It's just easier to do because I'm doing the aesthetic, it seems to do that. Whereas the girls would have on the work phone the Leamington Road page, but they're always nursing or whatever, so they don't do as much of that. But
So it's probably better because you just that is name that, and you're.
I think it's nice keeping it separate. I think that conversation I had with Shaz many years ago when we said about do we have two websites or not, and he said no, if you really want to push the aesthetics field, have two separate, because actually you don't want to bombard your dental patients with all the aesthetic stuff and vice versa. And actually, I'm not just doing Botox and fillers like a lot of practices. The amount of content that I need to share would literally is actually more than what the dental side share. So
we've seen actually exactly what you were saying. When a dental practice has an aesthetic treatment and they use the name, the dental dental practice name, it definitely lowers lead numbers. And I don't know if it doesn't make sense in my mind, especially for like, it's like I would trust a dentist a lot more than like a beauty salon that was maybe offering a facial treatment. I would definitely go to a dentist like Botox fillers, etc. But for some reason, that disconnect just doesn't.
Yeah, I think the average consumer who has injectables, who thinks about having injectables, I think the concept of going to a dentist for injectables is difficult for them to compute. Like I've had conversations with people, they're like, oh, the dentist offers Botox. But it's like, well, wait, let's take a step back. Like, who has a better understanding of facial anatomy, you know? And, you know, dentists inject every day, right?
But let's be frank, they're going to be a portion, well, I don't know, your patients, but you go to the dentist, I'm scared of the dentist. So why would they want to go somewhere they're scared of to then get something they want? Like, you just... You thought about that. That's a good, you know, there's so many that might not want to see the dentist, but they want their face done and XYZ. So actually it will just...
It's funny because, for example, we had a patient who sees both of us and just scared to get his filling done, so sat with this outstanding filling for nearly 2 years. But we'll get his Botox every 3 months. You know?
It's just mad. But it's like, especially when I was working in the prisons, it's like big butch guys, tattoos here, they'd come in, be like so scared of me. I think I had one because my friend, she was working like probation or whatnot. She said, oh yeah, the dentist, she needed help, she was standing on a stool and all this stuff, and she was like, did that happen? I was like, no, it did not happen.
It's a knee on the chest, was it?
I was like, oh my god.
Have you got any horror stories from your prison dentistry days?
Do you know what? Surprisingly, nothing happened to me. Even though they come in, they're not cuffed or anything. They don't come in freely. But no horror stories. I think there was once where I was at the computer. I think this was really early on, and the guy was like really angry. I can't remember why, and he was just getting closer and closer. And then I think the nurse, who's been working there for ages, she just said, "Get out."
But you've got all your tools are out, like There's no boundary. The card's outside; he's not allowed to come in. You know. It's,
everything's just.
It's just you and Fraser, isn't it?
But they're the ones. They're only going to come if they got toothache. Let's be frank, and they want me to help them. Because it's agonising being in that setting. So.
It's not like they're coming in for some composite bonding.
No.
Veneers.
You'd be surprised what I'd see, grills and this.
Oh, yeah?
And,
oh, wow.
all of that stuff. And they'd be like, can I get whatever, veneers or whatnot? I'm like, can you learn how to brush your teeth first?
I love it.
That is crazy.
That is brilliant. What advice would you give to clinics that have just, or they're considering purchasing a device, or they've just purchased one? What advice would you give them when they have it through their doors, basically?
Market the hell out of it. Literally, spend the money. I know it can sometimes be daunting saying, well, it's this much for the campaign and this much for the ad spend. Actually, if it's not working, throw more money at it. Actually, generally, that is the answer. As stupid as it sounds, you have to speculate to accumulate. And actually, the more you spend, the more returns you'll get. It took us a long time to realise that. I think we lost faith initially when we first took over the practice. We had a campaign with, it was Reach, I think at the time, which was the papers. We didn't know any different. And they said, we'll do a small social media campaign and we'll put it in the newspapers for you. And I was like, who's reading newspapers now? But again, it was a lot of money back then for someone who had zero money at the time because cash flow was rubbish. And when the campaign went live, they put the wrong website on it.
Oh,
When it was, everything's on algorithms. You click it. If it doesn't work, you move on. If you don't show it any interest, you will never see it again. And it took us about nearly a week to realise that the website was wrong. By that time, we lost a lot of the traction and, lost a lot of faith. And then that's what I started doing myself. And then obviously you guys came along. I was speaking to Nima at one of the award shows, and you had done an Emerald campaign for him, and he said, give it a go. He goes, this is how much I took on a night. And then all of a sudden he started coming up on my Facebook, and then clicked the link, and the rest was history. So
that's great.
Wow. I think that we do a little section called the Confessional.
Okay.
So brace yourself. Shall I go get my cloak? I think I have to do it.
I think, you can't say the cloak and I'll put it on.
So, just for context, Laurie ordered this on Amazon Prime yesterday.
Oh no!
Same day delivery.
Wow, look at this.
Very full.
Wow, check.
She's doing it. She's doing it.
I feel like we need a fire pit.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of feel like I'm in Harry Potter as well.
Yeah. It actually suits you.
Thanks.
Genuinely.
I went for purple. I thought it's my colour.
Yeah. No.
Derek, I was trying to get Derek to wear one as well, but he was insistent on green. So we have to ask the question. You've got to tell us a story, crazy story about a client situation. That doesn't have to be crazy. It can be funny. It can be whatever you want. We want all the juice. We want the gossip. Obviously, keep names out because we don't want to get sued. Floor is yours.
So having an emerald there's only one within so much radius. Like I had patients like from Cardiff or wherever. I had one patient in particular who was on the other side of Birmingham. It was about almost an hour away. So she rings up the practice. I've seen this advert. I'm interested, but I don't want to drive all the way for a consultation. I'd rather just have the consultation on the phone, and then we can go into more depth. I go straight to treatment. So I said, that's fine. So I gave her a ring and I said, XYZ, it's better to see in person because I can see what we're working with in terms of size, what your fat loss is, etc. So she said, okay, no problem. She said, I can send some photos to you. So she emailed the practice with some photos of us. Opened this email up and quite taken aback because she was quite a large lady, completely butt naked, front, side, everything. So, and she put little heart emojis over her balls. So anyway, I looked at these photos and I thought, wow, okay. So did the consult on the phone, she paid the money and she put it in. So I was just telling one of the nurses, but at this point I'd load up on because on the work emails on the computer screen at work, 27-inch screen and big image there. And one goes, what's that? She's obviously print screened the pictures across her camera roll, and it's got the feed at the bottom of what the feed were. And all it was like, dick pic, picture of a partner with his t-shirt over his head, pocket on his head, one of them just penis after penis. Just ridiculous.
It's like one thing home, that camera.
She's had this treatment. We never spoke about it. I don't think she'd ever realised it.
She had no idea. She wouldn't come after realising that. And she's...
Oh my God.
I think our conclusion is that they swung and these pictures were taken for profiles.
Oh my God. Wow.
That's crazy. I thought it ended at the food film. I thought that was it, but it escalated. It escalated massively. And yeah, my God. What a thing. Yeah.
It's very rare that Derek's speeches. So,
I have speeches there.
Okay, well, I think that might possibly be the
27 inches as well.
Okay, well,
That's
I mean...
mental. That might be actually the best patient confession.
If I had a crown, I'd give it to you. For everyone at home, obviously, if you could tell them about your practice, where they can find you, a bit about you and your business, so they can go and follow you on Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, we're Leamington Road Dental Practice, based in Coventry. Husband-wife team, and
follow Priyesh.lad or Leamington Road Dental Practice on Instagram. Come and check us out. We're got pretty much the only people in the Midlands doing what we're doing. We've got pretty much every device, and if you like something I don't have, tell me and I'll go buy it.
No.
Literally. You're going to open your phone on Monday and you're just going to have to buy that from us.
I mean, you're going to have more devices than
Well,
aesthetic
literally, I had
shop.
a patient this morning saying, "Do you offer CO2 laser?" And I said, "I'm sure Derek did a talk on Cytron the other day." I was like,
Yeah, and you're like screaming at me for buying some bloody curtains. He's like, "Stop buying house decor. I don't even buy anything." Like, giving me grief.
Wow.
Domestic spell at work.
Okay. We're getting insight.
Yeah, we can vouch for the guys at Cyton. They're great, actually. They're really, really good. So I think Laurie has one final question
I do.
that we always ask.
Is the patient always right?
Never.
I think that's the first never.
We've had no's, we have yeses.
No, they're not.
No.
They're not.
I mean, no. Yeah, don't know what to say.
No, I think they come to us for the advice. We're the experts.
Yeah.
So yes, they might
otherwise-
have an idea, but really it's Dr. Google that's giving them that answer.
Or
And
TikTok.
actually it's or TikTok. And TikTok is the worst because people only put bad stories on TikTok. I think if they want a real education, then they go see the expert, and that's why they come to us. So.
All right. So never and no. Wow.
Very
good.
Well, on that note, thanks for watching.
Thank you very much.
Until next time.
Thank you.
Love hearing the real stories behind the aesthetics, medical and dental industries? Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Patient Is Always Right for exclusive content. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to watch the full episodes on YouTube. Hit follow, subscribe, and stay tuned.